I watched pretty much every single one of Caitlyn's games early on because I am a fan. I do like good basketball, and of course I wanted to see how she would do.
We are immediately entering a storm that is developing within the WNBA, a story that has provoked reactions from both players and pundits. The WNBA's integrity and leadership under Commissioner Cathy Engelberg have been severely damaged by Sue Bird, one of the league's most respected voices. However, what led to this tsunami of discord at the center stands? The rising superstar Caitlin Clark's record-breaking season was marred by scandal due to the manner the league treated her. Apparently, it starts at the top.
Oh, and it actually, we talked about this before, like the fan that went hard at Caitlyn at the Connecticut Sun game in game 1 or 2, I can't remember, where there was an interaction where the fan almost got ejected. It's like, none of this is okay. And we never accept it. We never accept this on the men's side. Why is it okay in our league? Why is it, welcome to mainstream sports?
We'll look at how the NBA's leadership choices and Bird's revelations have revealed the organization's flaws, why Clark, who increased attendance and attention, was treated in a way that infuriated fans, and how Commissioner Albert is involved in this. Prepare yourself because we're going to analyze what this means for the league's future. Before we do so, please remember to subscribe to the channel. Are you ready? Let's get started.
At this intersection of culture and sport and fashion and music, like the WNBA players are really looked at now as kind of cultural icons.
True.
And when you have that, you have a lot of attention on you. There's no more apathy. Everybody cares. It is a little that Bird magic moment, if you recall, from 1979 when those two rookies came in from a big college rivalry.
The deeper ramifications of the statement were more problematic than just the statement itself. Critics, such as soccer legends Engelbert, made a glaring error by prioritizing rivalries over the safety and well-being of players, as Megan Rapinoe noted. On her podcast with Suba, Rapo criticized the commissioner, claiming that he did not shield players from the racist and toxic discourse that permeates stadiums and online. Many people found resonance in this argument, believing that the leadership was more focused on selling tails than protecting its athletes.
One white, one black. And so we have that moment with these two. But the one thing I know about sports, you need rivalry. That's what makes people watch. They want to watch games of consequence between rivals. They don't want everybody being nice to one another. It's a balance, but certainly from a marketing dollars, but corporate partners are stepping up to endorse these players much more so than they were 5 years ago.
The deeper ramifications of the statement were more problematic than just the statement itself. Critics, such as soccer legends Engelbert, made a glaring error by prioritizing rivalries over the safety and well-being of players, as Megan Rapinoe noted. On her podcast with Suba, Rapo criticized the commissioner, claiming that he did not shield players from the racist and toxic discourse that permeates stadiums and online. Many people found resonance in this argument, believing that the leadership was more focused on selling tails than protecting its athletes.
Knew it was coming. This wasn't a surprise. And not just the comments that the commissioner made a few weeks ago, where she basically implied that the racial tension is good for business and invoking Magic and Bird. It's not good for business. It's never good for business. And sort of sidestepped the question about racism and misogyny and hate that the players are receiving online, basically saying, like, don't go on social media, or, it's sort of not real.
Later, in an apology, Albert said, "I should have stated directly and unequivocally that hate speech is harmful." Although it was an attempt to right the incorrect thing, many players and fans expected more definitive action, and the attempt fell flat. The apology brought attention to the growing disconnect between the league's primary duties of player protection and integrity and its leadership. This backlash was not unexpected. Analysts observed that Engelbert's management approach frequently gave more weight to stories that could be sold than to important ideas. A position that has started to undermine trust by openly highlighting rivalries. When questioned lately about the referee situation, she brought attention to the absence of concrete steps addressing important concerns like player safety and respect, giving the impression that revenues mattered more than ideals.
Not every, they're humans, looking at technology. Basketball is a little more complex than tennis, for instance, around technology of officiating. So we're looking at a variety of different dimensions.
When a player like Caitlin Clark boosts viewership and energizes the fan base, the WNBA's stakes could not be greater. Engelbert's strategy runs the danger of eroding these achievements. Both players and fans question if this leadership style is sustainable because it diverts attention from what really matters by concentrating on rivalries. They also question how these choices affected one of the WNBA's most important players. We understand that viewing this video takes up some of your time, so please remember to like, subscribe, and enable all notifications if you've made it this far and are enjoying it. Let's get back to the action.
College and going into the WNBA, we as WNBA players were having basketball conversations, and everybody just took it to another place where we were attacking them as people. And that's, again, where that petty and jealousy lives.
When talking about the leadership in the WNBA, Sue Bird and Megan Reno's podcast episode was a little more blunt. Rapinoe, a fervent supporter of social justice and equality, and Bird, regarded as one of the best players in history, discussed the concerning mismatch between league authorities and players' realities. Bird pointed out that Engelbert's remarks on CNBC regarding the advantages of rivalries completely missed the mark. Instead, Bird contended that the emphasis should have been on defending the players and supporters against hateful, racially driven insults. According to her, the atmosphere had gotten so heated that players were starting to feel dangerous at games and online, and fans were starting to generalize about things they weren't.
There's one thing I want to reset, that we want to reset, and it's the language being used around fans. Fever fans, Caitlyn fans, new fans. That actually has to go. That has to go. I understand why at times it's been used. It's kind of just when you're in an interview and you get asked a question, it's kind of easy to go, oh, the FIFA fan base.
Yeah,
what
do you mean by that? That has to go.
Oh, these new fans. It has to go because it's not the FIFA fans. It's not Caitlyn fans.
Rapo backed this up by claiming that the WNBA and league office did not protect players from the bad aspects of the sport's abrupt surge in popularity. This criticism revealed a more serious problem. The objectives of the leadership may not be aligned, putting more emphasis on public relations than on taking substantive action. Additionally, the podcast disclosed that certain leadership choices fan divisions were exacerbated, and Bird was especially worried about how these stories, which were fed by unrestrained commentary and rivalries, permeated real-world behavior. The podcast's commentary went beyond just pointing out issues. Bird and Rapo demanded proactive measures to resolve them and urged the league to re-evaluate its goals, claiming that marketing by itself wasn't sufficient from the
WNBA's perspective, the WNBA and the league office and Kathy's role specifically is basically to protect and shepherd the league, both from a business perspective, from a player welfare perspective, from a health and safety perspective, and from a growth and investment perspective. And this is where I feel like she's failed.
The players were being asked to bear an unsustainable burden as Bird and Rapo examined these leadership failures. In addition to being expected to perform at elite levels, they were also left to defend themselves both in person and online while attempting to advance the game. Bird suggested that this reality was undermining trust within the WNBA community. The question now is whether the league will heed this advice. These demands for modification or continuation of a course that might endanger its legitimacy and expansion.
I did not come out of college with the same level of popularity, scrutiny, all of it. Nobody has. Caitlyn is one of one. There's zero doubt about that.
From game-winning shots to record-breaking performances, Caitlyn Clark's first season was not only amazing but historic. Her captivating presence drew in new audiences and rekindled ardent fans, and her influence was so great that analysts named it the Caitlyn Clark effect. Ticket sales, TV viewership and merchandise revenue increased, but the league's reaction was surprisingly muted.
Continuing to impress and she's going to break records nonstop for the next couple of years. Yeah. It's just going to be a constant record break.
The WNBA leadership's reluctance to fully embrace Clark's success highlighted more serious problems in the league, as evidenced by their refusal to use her season as a catalyst to attract new fans and strengthen their core base. One example is their silent acknowledgement of Clark's accolades. Both fans and commentators were perplexed by the league's lack of emotion in handling the Rookie of the Year award, which ought to have been a major event.
They decided that they were going to let her know she was Rookie of the Year with a phone call in Connecticut during a practice before a playoff game. You can't make this up.
This lack of acknowledgement wasn't merely a mistake. Rather, it was a warning to supporters that the league's top players might not know how to maximize their potential. What did it indicate for the league's future if a player like Clark, who generated previously unheard of levels of enthusiasm and attention, wasn't given the credit she deserved?
Ratings, high attendance figures. Ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't come courtesy of a league. it comes courtesy of the players that play in the league. And in her case, she was the most popular, which means she could have helped your bottom line, which means you should have seen that from day one and maximized it, but you didn't do it.
For the WNBA, the stakes are huge. Fans were excited to support Clark and the league as a whole during her breakthrough season, but by failing to step up, the leadership ran the risk of sending a message that would resonate long after the season. How will this missed opportunity affect the future of other league stars? While leadership blunders and marketing errors have drawn criticism, the fundamental problems of inconsistent officiating and player safety have stoked even more resentment among players and fans. In addition to showcasing her amazing talent, Caitlin Clark's first season exposed the league's shortcomings in maintaining safety and fairness on the court. One memorable viral moment involved Clark getting a technical foul for interacting with the ring after an incident that left many perplexed by the league's regulations and
Clark gets hit with a technical.
I got a technical for basically being mad at myself because I missed the three and then I went and hit the backboard, and he told me it was disrespectful to the game of basketball.
However, is this rule applied uniformly to all players? Let's examine Diana Taurasi performing the same action. Carter almost intercepts the ball, and Diana Taurasi will count the upcoming DT bucket. Why is there no foul? This incident wasn't unique. Players, including Clark, encountered refereeing irregularities throughout the season that changed the pace and results of games. These irregularities sent conflicting messages to players and spectators, with calls varying widely, even within the same game. Additionally, player safety has been a persistent problem that only became more prominent with Clark's high-intensity style. The backlash wasn't just players. Fans who watched clean competitive games became irritated by decisions that seemed arbitrary, undermining trust and drawing attention away from the excitement of the game to the drama of inconsistent officiating. If the WNBA couldn't guarantee its best players a safe and equitable environment, what does it signify for the league's long-term development and credibility?
Now it's the responsibility of the players to not only go play the damn game and to be great and to give everything that you know it takes, mind, body, soul, to be the best player that you possibly can. Now it's on them to ensure their own health and safety, their own player wellness, their own safe workplace, whether that is online, in stadiums, or otherwise. And I don't think that that's fair.
Clark's exceptional season, the WNBA saw unprecedented attention, which created a unique opportunity for the league to further integrate itself into mainstream sports discussions. However, if Engelbert and her team are unable to pivot, the league runs the risk of losing the momentum created by players like Clark and alienating the very community it is trying to engage. The stakes are extremely high at this point, which will determine whether the WNBA can reconcile its image as a progressive player-first league with the realities of how it treats its athletes. Will the leadership address these issues, or will these moments be remembered as lost opportunities?